I was checking drawer 23 when I saw the chest move. Just a small rise and fall, maybe half an inch. Like the body had taken a shallow breath, I stopped what I was doing and stared at the corpse. Male, late 60s, came in 2 days ago. Heart attack. Name was Gerald Pritchard, according to the toe tag. The skin had that greyish, waxy look that bodies get after 48 hours in cold storage. Eyes closed, mouth slightly open, arms resting at the sides. I watched for maybe 30 seconds. The chest didn't move again. I've worked night shift at the county morgue for almost 4 years now. You see things. Gases build up in bodies and sometimes they shift or make sounds. Muscles can twitch for hours after death. Arms can move, fingers can curl. It's all just biology breaking down. Nothing supernatural about it. And I made a note in the logbook anyway. Drawer 23, 2:17 a.m. Observed possible chest movement, likely post-mortem gas release. Then I checked the temperature gauge on the drawer. 38 degrees. Normal. I closed it and moved on to drawer 24. My name is David. I'm 32 years old. I take the night shift because it pays better and because I like working alone. The morgue is in the basement level of County General Hospital, accessible through a service elevator that most hospital staff never use. My shift runs from midnight to 8 a.m., 5 nights a week. Tuesday through Saturday, the facility has 42 storage drawers arranged along 3 walls. Each drawer is stainless steel with a pull handle and a small window for the temperature display. Most nights we have between 8 and 15 bodies. And people waiting for autopsy, waiting for family to claim them, waiting for funeral homes to pick them up, or waiting for the county to bury them if nobody comes forward. My job is simple. I receive bodies when they come in from the ER or from the coroner's office. I log them, tag them, store them in the drawers. I keep the facility clean. I maintain the temperature logs. I do spot checks throughout the night to make sure everything is functioning properly. If a funeral home shows up for a pickup, I verify their paperwork and release the body. It's mostly paperwork and cleaning. Most nights nothing happens. I bring a thermos of coffee and something to read. The office has a small desk with a computer, a filing cabinet, and a phone that almost never rings. There's a break room with a microwave and a vending machine. But I usually eat before I come in. The night Gerald Pritchard's chest moved, I finished my rounds and went back to the office. I logged the temperature readings into the computer system. Everything was normal except for that one notation about drawer 23. I added it to the digital log too, just to cover myself in case anyone asked questions. At 4 a.m. I did another round. I opened each occupied drawer, checked the tags against the log, verified positions and temperatures. When I got to drawer 23, I pulled it open and looked at Gerald Pritchard again. He looked the same. No movement. I checked his wrist for a pulse, even though I knew it was pointless. The skin was cold and starting to get that leathery texture. Definitely dead, no question about it. I closed the drawer and finished my rounds. The rest of the night was quiet. At 7:30, Marcus came in for the day shift. Marcus is maybe 50, been working here longer than I have. We don't talk much beyond the handoff. Anything I should know about? He asked. 12 in storage. Funeral home is supposed to pick up drawer 9 this morning. I saw some movement in drawer 23 around 2 a.m., but it's probably just gas. Marcus nodded. It happens. I'll keep an eye on it. I clocked out and went home to my apartment. I live alone, 15 minutes from the hospital. I have blackout curtains in the bedroom so I can sleep during the day. I usually get home around 8:15, shower, eat something, and sleep until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Then I have a few hours before I need to go back. That day I slept fine. No dreams that I remember. When I woke up, I made coffee and checked my phone. Nothing important. I had a text from my sister asking if I was coming to Thanksgiving next month. I didn't respond yet. I got to work at 11:45 that night. Marcus was still there finishing paperwork. Anything happen with drawer 23? I asked. Nope, checked it a few times. No movement. Funeral home picked him up around 2 this afternoon actually, so he's gone. Okay, good. I felt relieved, which was stupid. Of course the body was fine, of course nothing was wrong. I'd just been seeing things or misinterpreting normal post-mortem activity. Marcus left at midnight and I started my rounds. We had 11 bodies now. Drawer 23 was empty, freshly cleaned. I checked the log to confirm Gerald Pritchard had been released to Morrison Funeral Home at 2:14 p.m. And everything was normal that night. No movements, no sounds, nothing unusual. I caught up on some filing and watched a documentary on my phone about deep-sea fish. But the next night, Wednesday, something else happened. We had 13 bodies. A new one had come in during the evening shift. Drawer 18, female, mid-40s, car accident. I logged her in properly and did my initial rounds. Around 1 a.m., I was in the office doing temperature logs when I heard something from the storage area. A faint sound, almost like a sigh, or like air slowly escaping from something. I got up and walked into the cold storage room. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. All the drawers were closed. I stood there listening. The sound came again, soft, breathy, definitely coming from one of the drawers. I walked along the rows trying to locate it. And it was coming from drawer 18, the car accident victim from earlier. I pulled open the drawer. The woman was lying there, eyes closed, massive trauma to the left side of her head from the accident. The mortuary would have a hard time with this one. Her chest was still, no movement, but I could hear it. That soft exhalation, like lungs releasing air. I leaned closer. There was condensation near her mouth, just a tiny bit of moisture, like breath on a cold day. Bodies can release air from the lungs hours after death. When they're moved or positioned, air that was trapped can escape. It's normal. The condensation was probably just moisture from the cold environment. I checked her vitals anyway. No pulse, skin cold. She'd been dead for at least 6 hours according to the intake paperwork. But then I noticed her left eye. And it wasn't fully closed. There was a gap, maybe 2 millimeters, and I could see just a sliver of the white part of the eye beneath the lid. Bodies don't always close their eyes fully. Sometimes the lids retract a bit as the tissues dry out. It's cosmetic, not medical. Funeral homes usually glue or sew the lids shut for viewings. Still, it bothered me. I reached out and gently pressed her eyelid closed. The skin was cold and slightly rubbery under my finger. I held it for a few seconds, then let go. The eye stayed closed. I made a note in the log. Drawer 18, 1:15 a.m., observed air release from lungs, corrected eye position. Then I closed the drawer and went back to the office. I couldn't concentrate after that. I kept thinking about that sound, that condensation. I knew it was normal, but it felt wrong somehow. At 3 a.m., I did another check. When I opened drawer 18, the eye was open again, not just a sliver this time, fully open, staring straight up at the ceiling. I felt my stomach drop. That wasn't normal. Eyes don't just pop open like that. I looked more carefully. The eyelid had definitely retracted. Maybe it was the temperature, or maybe I hadn't pressed it firmly enough the first time. But the eye was completely exposed now, glazed and unfocused, but unmistakably open. I closed it again, pressing more firmly this time. I even held it for a full minute, making sure it would stay. When I let go, it stayed closed. I watched for another minute. No movement. I closed the drawer and went back to the office. I sat at the desk and tried to think logically. Bodies do weird things. Muscles relax, gases shift, tissues change. This was all explainable, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. At 5 a.m., I checked again. The eye was open. This time I didn't close it. I just stared at it. This dead woman with one eye open, looking at nothing. I took out my phone and snapped a photo just to document it. Then I closed the drawer and finished my shift. When Marcus came in, I told him about drawer 18. Eyes won't stay closed, keeps opening up. Did you try taping it? No. Use some medical tape from the supply cabinet. That'll hold it. Funeral home will fix it properly anyway. He was right. That was the logical solution. I was overthinking this. I went home, but I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing that eye in my mind, staring up at nothing. I finally dozed off around 11 a.m. and slept until 5. That evening before work, I looked at the photo I'd taken. The image was blurry and dark. You could barely make out the body in the drawer. The eye just looked like a small shadow. Not helpful. I got to work at midnight. Marcus had taped the eye shut with surgical tape. Problem solved. But when I opened drawer 18 during my first round, the tape was gone. Just completely gone. No residue, no trace of it. And the eye was open again. I searched the drawer, thinking maybe the tape had fallen off and was stuck to the body or the metal surface somewhere. Nothing. "Okay," I said out loud to the empty room. "Okay." I got fresh tape from the supply cabinet and taped the eye shut again, using more tape this time, making sure it was secure. Then I closed the drawer. At 2 a.m. I checked. Tape was gone. Eye was open. I didn't tape it again. I just closed the drawer and logged it. Drawer 18. Eye will not remain closed, tape not adhering, possible tissue deterioration. The rest of the night I avoided drawer 18. I did my other checks, but I left that one alone. At 6 a.m. I forced myself to check it one more time. I pulled the drawer open. The woman's head was turned slightly to the left, just a few degrees, but definitely different from the position she'd been in. Her open eye was now pointed in my direction instead of straight up. I slammed the drawer shut. Bodies don't move their heads. They don't turn to look at things. That's not possible. I stood there breathing hard, staring at the closed drawer. My heart was pounding. Maybe Marcus had moved her during the day shift. Maybe someone from the coroner's office had come by. Maybe I was misremembering her original position. I pulled the drawer open again, slowly this time. Her head was in the same position, turned slightly toward me, eye open, looking in my direction. I checked the toe tag. Same woman, Jennifer Hastings, age 46, time of death 6:30 p.m. yesterday. I forced myself to look at her carefully, clinically. The head position could have shifted due to rigor mortis coming and going. Bodies do move slightly as the muscles stiffen and then relax. The head could have rolled to the side, but it hadn't been like that before. I was sure of it. I reached out and turned her head back to center, facing straight up. The neck was stiff but movable. I positioned it carefully, making sure it was straight. Then I closed the drawer and logged it. Drawer 18, eye body position adjusted. When Marcus came in, I didn't mention it. I just did the handoff and left. I didn't sleep well that day. I kept waking up, thinking about that open eye looking in my direction. At one point I got up and checked my own eyes in the bathroom mirror, making sure they were normal. They were. Thursday night I came in early, around 11 p.m. I wanted to check drawer 18 before my shift officially started. Marcus was surprised to see me. "You're early." Couldn't sleep. Thought I'd get a jump on things. He shrugged. "Suit yourself. I'm heading out." After he left, I went straight to drawer 18. I pulled it open. Jennifer Hastings was facing straight up like I'd left her. But the eye was open. And now the right eye was partially open too. Both eyes, both staring upward. I felt a wave of fear that I tried to push down. This was still explainable. Both eyelids retracting, both eyes exposed. Unusual but not impossible. I looked at the rest of the body. Position seemed normal. Arms at the sides, legs straight. The head trauma from the accident looked the same, that massive dent on the left side of the skull. Then I noticed something on the toe tag. The handwriting looked different. I pulled out my phone and scrolled back to a photo I'd taken of the intake paperwork when she first came in. I zoomed in on the tag information. The handwriting was definitely different. The original writing had been a loose scrawl, probably Marcus's handwriting. The current tag was neater, more precise. The information was the same, name, date of birth, time of death, but the actual writing was different. Someone had replaced the tag. But why? And when? I checked the log. There was no mention of a tag replacement. When tags get damaged or incorrect, we're supposed to log it. Nobody had logged anything. I photographed the current tag and then closed the drawer. I went to the office and pulled up the digital records on the computer. Jennifer Hastings, admitted 6:47 p.m. Tuesday, drawer 18. Pending autopsy scheduled for Friday morning. Logged by Marcus. Everything normal, but when I scrolled down to the detailed notes section, there were entries I didn't remember seeing before. Wednesday 2:17 a.m. Observed postmortem eye movement, documented. Wednesday 3:12 a.m. Eye position corrected manually. Wednesday 5:20 a.m. Eye position checked, remains open. These were logged under my username, and the timestamps matched when I'd been checking the drawer. But I hadn't entered these notes into the digital system. I'd only written them in the paper logbook. I pulled out the physical logbook and flipped to Wednesday night's entries. My handwritten notes were there, but they were slightly different from what was in the computer. My handwriting, but neater. More careful, I checked Thursday night's entries from tonight. There were already notes logged under my name, even though I'd just arrived. Thursday 00:05 a.m., drawer 18 body position adjusted, head repositioned to center. That was accurate, that's what I'd done, but I hadn't logged it yet in the paper book, and I definitely hadn't entered it into the computer. Someone was updating the logs as I worked, or I was updating them and not remembering. Neither option made sense. I sat at the desk trying to think. The logical explanation was that I was more tired than I thought, and I was updating the digital logs automatically, out of habit, and then forgetting I'd done it. Maybe I was even updating them in a more careful handwriting because I was trying to be professional or something. But that didn't explain the toe tag being replaced. I decided to watch the security footage. The morgue has 3 cameras, one covering the entrance, one in the storage room, and one in the office. The footage is stored for 30 days before being overwritten. I pulled up Wednesday night's footage from the storage room camera. I fast-forwarded through my shift, watching myself do my rounds. There I was opening drawer 18 at 1:15 a.m., closing the eye. Opening it again at 3 a.m., the eye open again. Opening it at 5 a.m., the eye still open. But the footage was glitchy. Little gaps and freezes, like frames, were missing. Every time I leaned close to the body, the video would freeze for a few seconds, then resume with me stepping back. I rewound and watched again. Same thing. The video was corrupted right at the moments when I was interacting with the body. I checked the office camera footage. Similar issues. Whenever I was typing at the computer, the video would glitch. This didn't make sense. The security system was new, installed about 6 months ago. It shouldn't be having technical problems like this. I picked up the phone and called facility maintenance. It rang 8 times before someone answered. Maintenance, this is Kyle. Hey, this is David in the morgue. I'm having issues with the security camera system. The footage is corrupted. Corrupted how? It's freezing and skipping frames, mostly when I'm close to the cameras. There was a pause. The morgue cameras are working fine. I checked the system an hour ago. Everything's green. Can you come down and look at it? Not until tomorrow. I'm by myself tonight, and I've got 3 other calls ahead of you. If it's not an emergency, it'll have to wait. It's not an emergency. I'll put you on the list for tomorrow afternoon. He hung up. I went back to the storage room. I needed to see drawer 18 again, even though I didn't want to. I pulled it open. Jennifer Hastings was sitting up, not all the way up, maybe at a 30-degree angle, propped up by something I couldn't see. Both eyes open, both looking straight ahead, straight at me. I made a sound, something between a gasp and a shout, and I stumbled backward and hit the wall behind me. The body didn't move. It just sat there, angled up, eyes staring. I stood frozen for maybe 10 seconds. Then I forced myself to step closer. She was propped up by her own arms. Her hands were pressed against the metal surface of the drawer, holding her torso at that angle, like she'd pushed herself up. This wasn't possible. Bodies don't sit up. They don't move their own arms. They don't push themselves into different positions. Unless someone had posed her this way. Someone had been in here and moved her as a joke or a prank or something. But the cameras showed only me in here. The doors were locked. Only 3 people had access to this facility during night shift. Me and 2 security guards who did occasional rounds. And the security guards never came into the storage room itself. They just checked the entrance area. I reached out and touched her shoulder, intending to push her back down into a lying position. Her skin was cold but not stiff. The rigor mortis had come and gone. She'd been dead long enough that her muscles should be pliable again. I pushed gently on her shoulder. She didn't budge. I pushed harder. Still nothing. It was like she was braced, like she was resisting. "Come on," I muttered. I put both hands on her shoulders and pushed. She fell backward into a lying position with a soft thump. Her arms flopped to her sides. Her head rolled slightly to the left. both eyes still open, now staring up and to the side. I was breathing hard, my hands were shaking. I stepped back and looked at her. Just a body, just a dead woman. Nothing supernatural, nothing impossible, but she'd been sitting up. I didn't imagine that. I checked the time, 12:47 a.m. I'd been on shift for less than an hour and already things were wrong. I closed the drawer and went back to the office. I sat down and put my head in my hands. I needed to think rationally. What were the possible explanations? 1, I was tired and seeing things. Maybe she hadn't been sitting up. Maybe it just looked that way because of shadows or the angle of the drawer. 2, someone was messing with me. Someone had access to the morgue and was moving bodies around to freak me out. 3, something was medically wrong with the body. Some condition I didn't know about that caused post-mortem muscle contractions strong enough to move the torso. 4, I was losing my mind. I didn't like any of these options. I decided to check the other drawers, just to make sure everything else was normal. I went back to the storage room and started opening drawers systematically. Drawer 1, empty. Drawer 2, elderly male, natural causes, everything normal. Drawer 3, empty. Drawer 4, middle-aged male, overdose, normal. Drawer 5 through 17, either empty or normal. Drawer 18, I didn't open it. Drawers 19 through 23, normal or empty. Drawer 24, I pulled it open and stopped. The toe tag had my name on it. David Garrett, my full name. Date of birth, March 15th, 1991. My actual birth date, but the drawer was empty, no body. I stared at the tag for a long moment. Someone had put a tag with my information in an empty drawer. I pulled the tag off. It was a standard morgue tag, filled out in blue ink in neat handwriting. Date of death was listed as November 17th, 2023. That was yesterday. Thursday. Time of death, 12:47 a.m. I looked at my watch. It was 12:51 a.m. According to this tag, I had died 4 minutes ago. I crumpled the tag in my fist and threw it in the trash. This was a prank. This had to be a prank. Marcus or one of the security guards was messing with me. But even as I thought it, I knew that didn't make sense. Marcus wasn't the type, and the security guards barely knew me. I checked the rest of the drawers, all normal or empty. Only drawer 18 and the tag in drawer 24 were wrong. I went back to the office and called Marcus's cell phone. It rang until voicemail picked up. "Marcus, this is David. Call me when you get this. I need to ask you something about the overnight logs." I hung up and sat there, trying to calm down. At 2 a.m., I did another round. I skipped drawer 18 entirely this time. When I got to drawer 24, I checked it. The crumpled toe tag was back, smoothed out and reattached to the drawer handle. David Garrett, date of death, November 17th, 2023. Time of death, 12:47 a.m. I grabbed the tag and took it back to the office with me. I put it in my bag. If someone kept replacing it, at least I'd know I wasn't imagining things. The rest of the night was quiet. I didn't check drawer 18 again. At 8 a.m., Marcus came in and I did the handoff. "Anything happen?" he asked. I almost told him everything. But I stopped myself. If I told him that a body had sat up and there was a toe tag with my name on it, he'd think I was crazy. He'd report me. I'd probably lose my job. "No. Quiet night." He nodded and I left. At home, I took the toe tag out of my bag and looked at it again. Real paper, real ink, real information. My information. I took a photo of it and then put it in my desk drawer. I tried to sleep but couldn't. My mind kept going over everything. The moving chest, the open eye, the turned head, the sitting position, the toe tag with my name. None of it made sense separately. Together it was a pattern, but a pattern of what? Around noon I gave up on sleep and made coffee. I sat at my kitchen table and tried to think. The bodies that had shown unusual activity were Gerald Pritchard in drawer 23 and Jennifer Hastings in drawer 18. Both had moved in some way. Both had seemed aware somehow of being observed. Gerald Pritchard had been picked up by a funeral home Wednesday afternoon. So he was gone now, and only Jennifer Hastings remained. I looked her up online, found an obituary that had just been posted. Jennifer Hastings, 46, died tragically in an automobile accident on November 14th. She is survived by her husband Michael and 2 children. There was a photo. She looked different than the body in the morgue. Alive, smiling, healthy. The way people always look different in photos compared to corpses. The obituary mentioned she'd been a nurse at County General. She'd worked in the ER. She'd worked in the same building where I worked. Maybe we'd even passed each other in the hallways or the cafeteria. That was unsettling, but probably meaningless. The hospital employed hundreds of people. I spent the afternoon researching post-mortem body movements. I found articles about muscle contractions, gas buildup, rigor mortis, and everything I read confirmed what I already knew. Bodies can move slightly, but they don't sit up. They don't reposition their own arms. They don't open their eyes repeatedly after you close them, unless there was a medical condition I didn't know about. Some kind of nerve disorder or muscle disease that caused extended post-mortem reactions. But that wouldn't explain the toe tag with my name on it. I tried calling Marcus again, still no answer. At 11 p.m, I got ready for work. I almost called in sick. I didn't want to go back there, but I needed the money and I needed to understand what was happening. I arrived at midnight. Marcus was there finishing paperwork. He looked tired. "You called me yesterday," he said. "Yeah, I had a question about the logs, but it's not important now." "Okay." He handed me the logbook. 14 in storage tonight. Autopsy took the accident victim from drawer 18 this afternoon. Drawer 26 has a new one that came in around 7. Elderly female, natural causes. Drawer 18 was empty now. Jennifer Hastings was gone. I felt a wave of relief. Whatever had been happening with her body was over. "Anything unusual today?" I asked. "Nope, normal day." After Marcus left, I did my rounds. Everything was normal. Drawer 18 was empty and clean. Drawer 24 didn't have a toe tag anymore. The one with my name was still in my desk drawer at home. The night passed without incident. No movements, no sounds, no problems. At 8 a.m, I handed off to Marcus and went home. I slept better that day. Maybe it was over. Maybe whatever had been wrong was specific to those 2 bodies, and now that they were gone, everything would go back to normal. Friday night was quiet. Saturday night too. I started to relax. I even felt a little silly about how scared I'd been. Sunday was my night off. I spent it watching TV and trying not to think about work. Monday night I came in at midnight. Marcus looked stressed. "Rough day?" I asked. 4 new ones came in. Flu season's starting early, I guess. 3 elderly, 1 middle-aged, all natural causes. Also, we've got a storage issue. "What kind of storage issue?" "System's been glitching, temperature fluctuations in some of the drawers. Maintenance is supposed to come look at it tomorrow." "Which drawers?" 18 and 24. They keep showing error codes. The same drawers that had the problems before. "Are there bodies in them?" "No, both empty right now, but the system's reading them as occupied. And the computer thinks there's something in there." I felt a chill. "Probably just a sensor problem," Marcus continued. "Don't worry about it. If the temperatures in the occupied drawers stay stable, we're fine." After he left, I checked the computer. He was right. Drawers 18 and 24 showed as occupied in the system, but when I checked them physically, they were empty. I tried updating the system manually, marking them as empty. The computer accepted the change. But when I refreshed the screen, they showed as occupied again. I checked the other drawers. Everything else was accurate. Only those 2 were wrong. I decided to ignore it. Like Marcus said, if the occupied drawers were working properly, that's what mattered. But around 2 a.m, I started hearing sounds. Soft noises coming from the storage room. Not loud, just subtle. A faint creaking, like metal flexing. The occasional soft thump. I tried to ignore it. Old buildings make sounds. The refrigeration units make sounds. It was nothing, but the sounds continued, rhythmic almost. Creak, thump, creak, thump. Like something shifting weight back and forth. Finally, I got up and went to the storage room. I stood in the doorway, listening. The sound was coming from drawer 18. I walked over to it. The drawer was closed. The temperature display showed 38 degrees, normal. The computer still said it was occupied. I put my hand on the drawer handle. I could feel vibration, very slight, like something inside was moving. I pulled the drawer open. Empty, nothing there, just clean metal, but I could still hear the sound, closer now, creak, thump, coming from inside the empty drawer. I looked more carefully. There was nothing to see. The drawer was completely empty. I closed it and stepped back. The sound stopped. I stood there for a full minute, listening. Silence. I checked drawer 24, also empty, also showing as occupied in the system, but no sounds coming from it. I went back to the office and logged it. Drawers 18 and 24, showing false occupied status, maintenance required. The rest of the night was quiet. No more sounds, but when I did my 5 a.m. round, I found something in drawer 24. A toe tag. David Garrett. Date of birth, March 15th, 1991. Date of death, November 17th, 2023. Time of death, 12:47 a.m. The same tag I'd taken home, the same information. But this wasn't the same physical tag. That one was still in my desk drawer at home. This was a new one, freshly written. And someone was recreating the tag. Over and over, I took this one too. I folded it and put it in my pocket. At 8 a.m., I handed off to Marcus and left. At home, I put the new tag next to the old one. Identical. I tried to sleep but couldn't. I kept thinking about those drawers showing as occupied when they were empty. About the sounds, about the tags. That evening before work, I looked up the history of the morgue facility. It had been built in 1987 as part of a hospital expansion. Before that, the hospital had used a smaller morgue on the second floor. Nothing unusual in its history. No accidents, no scandals, nothing. I searched for David Garrett to see if maybe someone with my name had died recently. I found a few people with that name, but none with my birth date, and none who had died in November 2023. A Monday night at work, I checked drawers 18 and 24 immediately. Both empty, both showing as occupied in the computer. No toe tags, but at 2 a.m. I heard the sounds again, this time from both drawers. A stereo creak and thump, like two bodies shifting position at the same time. I went to the storage room, but didn't open the drawers. I just stood there listening. The sounds continued for about 5 minutes, then stopped. At 4 a.m. I forced myself to check. I opened drawer 18. There was a body inside. I jumped back, startled. It was lying there on the metal surface, covered with a white sheet. I hadn't put a body there. The drawer had been empty 2 hours ago. I pulled back the sheet. It was me, my face, my hair, my build. Wearing the same clothes I was wearing right now, jeans and a dark blue work shirt. I stared at it, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. This wasn't possible. I was standing here. I was alive. That couldn't be me. I looked more carefully. The face was mine, but something was off. The skin tone was wrong, too pale. The features were slightly blurred, indistinct, like someone had made a wax sculpture of me but hadn't gotten the details right. I touched the face. It was cold, but not like a real body. It felt more like cold plastic or silicone. Not a real body. A fake. A mannequin or something. But who would do this? Who would make a replica of me and put it in the drawer? I checked the toe tag. David Garrett. Date of birth, March 15th, 1991. Date of death, November 20th, 2023. Time of death, 2:17 a.m. Today's date. 2 hours ago, I pulled the sheet back over the fake body and closed the drawer. My hands were shaking. This was deliberate. Someone was doing this to scare me. Someone had access to the morgue and was staging these things. I went to the office and pulled up the security footage. I rewound to 2 a.m. and watched the storage room camera. The footage showed me doing my rounds at 2 a.m. I watched myself check various drawers, then leave the storage room and return to the office. At 2:17 a.m., the footage glitched. The screen went black for about 30 seconds. When it came back, everything looked normal. Empty storage room, all drawers closed. But the footage never showed anyone putting a body in drawer 18. It had just appeared during that 30-second gap. I checked the entrance camera. No one had come in or out during my shift except me. I was being set up. And someone was manipulating the footage and planting things when the cameras were down. But that didn't make sense either. Who had that level of access? Who had a mannequin that looked like me? Who was doing this and why? I picked up the phone and called hospital security. The guard who answered said his name was Rodriguez. "This is David in the morgue. Has anyone else accessed this area tonight besides me?" "Let me check the logs." "No, you're the only one. Just you badged in at midnight." "Are there any gaps in the security system? Any blind spots or technical problems?" "Not that I'm aware of." "Why? Is something wrong?" "I'm seeing some things on the security footage that don't make sense." "Want me to come down and take a look?" "No, it's probably nothing. I'll log it with maintenance tomorrow." I hung up. I went back to the storage room. I opened drawer 18 again, half expecting the body to be gone. It was still there, still wearing my face, still cold and fake feeling. I took photos this time, multiple angles, the face, the body, the toe tag. I needed evidence. Then I covered it back up and closed the drawer. I checked drawer 24, empty. The rest of the night I stayed in the office. I didn't do any more rounds. I just sat at the desk, watching the security monitors, jumping at every small sound. At 8 a.m., Marcus came in. I met him at the entrance. "Don't go in the storage room yet," I said. "Why not?" "There's something in drawer 18. I need you to look at it with me." "What kind of something?" "Just come with me." We walked to the storage room together. I opened drawer 18. It was empty. "I don't see anything," Marcus said. "There was a body here, 2 hours ago. I photographed it." I pulled out my phone to show him the photos. The photos were gone. Not just deleted, the photo app didn't show them as ever existing. The timestamps jumped from 1:45 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. with nothing in between. "David," Marcus said quietly, "are you okay? There was a body here. It looked like me. Someone put it here as a prank or something. A body that looked like you." "Yes." "And now it's gone." "Yes." Marcus looked at me with concern. "Maybe you should go home early, get some rest." "I'm not making this up. I'm not saying you are, but you look exhausted. When's the last time you had a full day off?" "Sunday. I mean a full day off where you actually rested, not where you stayed up worried about work." I didn't answer. "Nah, go home," Marcus said. "I'll cover the last hour of your shift. You need sleep." I wanted to argue, but I was too tired. And he was right. I must look terrible. I hadn't slept properly in days. I went home and crashed immediately. I slept for 12 hours straight, deep, dreamless sleep. When I woke up Tuesday evening, I felt better, more clear-headed. I looked at the toe tags I'd collected. Real physical objects, proof that something was happening, even if the photos disappeared. But looking at them now, in daylight, in my own apartment, I started to doubt. Maybe I had written these myself in some kind of fugue state. Maybe I was having some kind of breakdown and my mind was manufacturing these experiences. That made more sense than mannequins appearing and disappearing, than security footage being perfectly manipulated, than all of this. And I decided to call in sick that night. I needed a break. I needed to step away and clear my head. I called the morgue and told Marcus I had the flu. He said he'd cover for me. I stayed home Tuesday night and Wednesday night, just resting, trying not to think about work. Thursday night, I felt ready to go back. I'd had 3 nights off. I felt rested and rational. I came in at midnight. Marcus handed off without mentioning my weird behavior from Monday. Professional as always. "Quiet couple of days," he said. 9 in storage, nothing unusual. Good. After he left, I did my rounds. Everything was normal. All 9 bodies were where they should be. The 2 problem drawers, 18 and 24, were empty and showed as empty in the computer. The night passed smoothly. No sounds, no problems, nothing unusual. At 6 a.m., I did my final round before Marcus came in. I checked all 9 occupied drawers, everything normal. Then I checked drawer 18, just to be sure. There was a body inside. My body. The real me this time, not a mannequin. I could tell immediately. Real skin tone, real details, real everything. I was lying there on my back, eyes closed, arms at my sides. I was wearing the same clothes I'd worn Monday night when I'd seen the mannequin. Jeans and a dark blue shirt. The toe tag read, David Garrett, date of birth, March 15th, 1991, date of death, November 20th, 2023, time of death 2:17 a.m. I stood there staring at my own corpse. This was impossible. I was standing here, alive, looking at it. I could feel my heart beating. I could feel myself breathing. I was alive. I reached out and touched the body's hand. It was cold, and the fingers were stiff. Real rigor mortis. I checked for a pulse. Nothing. I pulled back the eyelid. The eye underneath was clouded and fixed. Dead. This was a real body, not a fake. A real dead body that looked exactly like me. I pulled out my phone to call 911, but stopped. What would I say? There's a body in the morgue that looks like me? I worked in a morgue. Bodies were supposed to be here. I took a photo. This time it worked. The image showed me lying in the drawer, clearly dead. I backed up and bumped into something. I turned around. I was standing there, another me, wearing different clothes. The clothes I was wearing right now, black pants and a grey work shirt. We stared at each other. "Who are you?" I asked. "I'm David," he said. "Who are you?" "I'm David." We stood there, two identical people, in the cold morgue at 6 a.m. One of us isn't real," he said. "I'm real," I said. "I'm alive." "So am I." He reached out and touched my arm. His hand was warm. "Real." "Check the drawer," he said, nodding toward drawer 18. I looked. The drawer was closed now. I didn't remember closing it. "Open it," he said. I pulled the drawer open. I was inside, dead, but in different clothes now, wearing black pants and a grey shirt. The same clothes I was currently wearing. "That's me," he said, pointing at the body. "I died Monday night at 2:17 a.m. I've been working my shifts ever since, just like I always do." "That's impossible." "Is it? You've been seeing impossible things all week." I looked at the body in the drawer. It was me, wearing my current clothes, down to the specific scar on my right forearm from when I fell off my bike in middle school. "I don't understand," I said. "You died," he said patiently. "Monday night. You came in for your shift and something happened. Maybe your heart stopped. Maybe you had a stroke. I don't know. But you died at 2:17 a.m. and then you got up and kept working. Because that's what you do. That's all you know how to do." I would remember dying. Would you? Do you remember everything from Monday night? I tried to think back. Monday night. I remembered arriving at midnight. I remembered checking the drawers. I remembered hearing sounds at 2 a.m. And then there was a gap, a blank spot in my memory. From about 2:15 a.m. to maybe 3:30 a.m. I remembered being in the office later, checking the computer, but I didn't remember what happened in between. "I was tired," I said. "I just zoned out for a bit." "You died," he repeated, "and now you're here. Just like Jennifer Hastings was. Just like Gerald Pritchard was. They died and they kept existing in this place for a while, moving around, trying to understand what happened to them. Eventually they figured it out and left. Left where? I don't know. Wherever dead people go. I'm not dead." "Check your pulse," he said. I pressed my fingers against my neck. I felt something. Maybe. Or maybe I was just feeling what I expected to feel. "I can feel it," I said. "Are you sure?" I wasn't sure. I pressed harder, moved my fingers around, searching for that rhythmic throb. I couldn't find it. "Breathe," he said. "Take a deep breath." I tried. My chest moved, but I couldn't feel the air. There was no sensation of breathing in, no expansion of lungs, no oxygen. "I'm breathing," I said, but I wasn't sure. "You've been dead since Monday," he said quietly. "You've been working your shifts, doing your job, but you're not alive anymore. You're still here because you don't know how to be anywhere else. This is insane. Is it? Gerald Pritchard worked here in the 80s. Did you know that? He was a janitor in this building for 20 years. When he died, they brought him here, and he stayed for a few days. Confused, scared, trying to understand. Jennifer Hastings worked in the ER upstairs. She knew this building, knew these hallways. When she died, she ended up here too, trying to make sense of it. How do you know all this? Because I'm the one who works here now, the living one. I process the bodies, I log them, I watch them. and sometimes they stick around for a bit before they move on. So you're sticking around. Then who are you? He smiled sadly. I'm your replacement. They hired me Tuesday. I'm doing your job now. That's impossible. They didn't fire me. I called in sick. Check your phone. I pulled out my phone. Or tried to. My pocket was empty. I checked my other pockets. No phone, no wallet, no keys. Where's my stuff? In a bag in the office, your personal effects. They're going to call your family tomorrow and have someone come pick them up. I went to the office. There was a plastic bag on the desk labeled Personal Effects, David Garrett. Inside was a phone, a wallet, keys, and a watch. My things. I picked up the phone and tried to turn it on. The screen stayed dark, dead battery, or something else. I've been working here all week, I said. Marcus has seen me. The security guards have seen me. Have they, or have they just seen movement in their peripheral vision? A shadow in the hallway. The security footage glitches whenever you're around. People hear sounds, but they don't see you clearly. You're here, but you're not really here anymore. I thought about my interactions with Marcus over the past week. Had we actually talked? Or had I just heard his voice and assumed we were having a conversation? I tried to remember him looking directly at me, making eye contact. I couldn't recall a single instance. This isn't real, I said. I'm hallucinating. I'm having a psychotic break or something. Maybe, the other David said, or maybe you're dead and this is what happens. Maybe some people linger for a while in the last place they knew. Maybe that's all this is. I want to leave. So leave. Walk out. Go home. I went to the entrance doors. I pushed them open and walked into the hallway. The hallway stretched out in front of me, longer than it should be. The lights at the far end were dim. The walls seemed to bend slightly, like I was looking through a fisheye lens. I started walking. The exit should have been maybe 50 feet away, but I kept walking and never reached it. The hallway just continued, endless. The exit always ahead, but never getting closer. After what felt like 10 minutes, I turned around. The morgue door was right behind me, still close enough to touch. I hadn't moved at all. You can't leave, the other David said from the doorway. This is where you are now. Forever. I don't know. Pritchard left after 3 days. Hastings left after 4. And maybe you'll figure it out too. Figure what out? Whatever it is you need to figure out. He turned and went back inside. I followed. In the storage room, I looked at drawer 18. My body was still there. Real, dead, undeniable. What am I supposed to do? I asked. I don't know, he said. I'm just here to do my job. You're somewhere else, stuck. I can see you right now because it's early morning and the threshold is thin. But soon the sun will come up and I won't be able to see you anymore. You'll still be here, but I'll be in the living world, and you'll be in whatever world the dead exist in. I don't want to be dead. Nobody does. The lights in the morgue started to get brighter. Or maybe it was just my perception changing. The other David started to look less solid, less real. I have to start my day shift prep, he said. His voice sounded distant now. Good luck, David. Wait, I said. Wait, don't go. But he was fading, or I was. The morgue around me was losing detail, becoming more like a memory than a physical place. I was alone. I went to drawer 24 and pulled it open. Empty. But the computer said it was occupied. I climbed inside. The metal was cold against my back. I pulled the drawer closed from the inside. It was dark and quiet and cold. I lay there, trying to understand. I was dead. I died on Monday at 2:17 a.m. I'd been working my shifts as a ghost or a spirit or whatever the dead become when they don't realize they're dead. And now I knew. Now I understood. And I was still here, still in this drawer, still in this morgue. I don't know how long I lay there. Time didn't work right anymore. But eventually I heard the drawer open. Light flooded in. I looked up. Marcus was standing there, looking down at me. But he wasn't looking at me exactly. He was looking through me. Drawer 24 still showing occupied, but it's empty, he said to someone I couldn't see. Damn system needs to be replaced. He closed the drawer. I was alone in the dark again. This is where I stay now, in drawer 24. Sometimes I get up and walk around the morgue during the night shift. I watch the new David working. He does his job well. He checks the drawers, logs the temperatures, maintains the facility. Sometimes new bodies come in, and some of them linger for a while, confused, scared. I try to help them understand. I tell them what happened. Some of them accept it quickly and move on. Others stay longer, trapped like me. I don't know why I can't leave. Maybe I don't want to. This is where I worked for 4 years. This is what I know, the routine, the cold, the silence. It's comfortable in a way. Or maybe I'm still hoping this is all a mistake. That one morning I'll wake up in my apartment and discover this was just a nightmare caused by stress and exhaustion. But I don't wake up. I don't sleep anymore. I just exist in the cold darkness of drawer 24, listening to the sounds of the living world above me, waiting for nothing. My name is David, and I work at the county morgue. I've worked here for 4 years, or maybe 4 days, or maybe just one endless shift that never ends. Time doesn't work right anymore, but I'm here, in drawer 24, where I belong, where I'll always be.